every Monday evening, and we're going to talk about something that I think all of us deal with in one way or another. At least most of the people that I am in connection with. So, whether you are someone who is knee deep in a career, got lots going on career-wise, or maybe you're working from home, or maybe you are enjoying retirement with or without a side gig. I'm kind of in that category. I have a side gig that I've had for quite some time. And, but regardless of where you are in the scheme of things, in the grand scheme of things, the drive to be perfect or to be constantly productive can really leave us feeling weighed down. And if you know what I mean, give me a thumbs up. You know what it feels like to be feeling weighed down. Whatever it is you're doing. For some people, it's the pressure of high stakes deadlines. That used to be me when I was in the field of education. Whether it's a regular education or special education, there are some really rigid guidelines, timelines for evaluations, for getting your grants written, for holding your meetings, providing services for students. And if you miss those deadlines, it is it can really lead to some legal issues. And so those deadlines can really put a lot of pressure on you. I know they did me and so many people that I worked in the field with. And then for other people, you might not have any of these real rigid deadlines, but there's always something more that needs to be done. And you feel the pressure. So, regardless of where you are in life, the truth is success can be light and fulfilling. And it can be aligned with your peace, what it is that brings you peace. So, feeling without feeling that stress, that overwhelm, or what do you call it? When you're feeling really heavy, do you call it stressed out? Do you call it overwhelmed? Do you call it frustrated? Do you call it cranky? What do you call it when you feel like it's just a bit more than you can juggle and you're feeling a little out of sync? Well, in today's session, we are going to explore how to shift your approach to success. We want to shift it so that it feels easier to achieve. So it's not like you're constantly striving. We want it to feel like you are achieving. You are making gains no matter where you are in your journey. So there are a few things that can help you get there. And the very first one is just acknowledge the hustle. This is not something that I was in tune to a few years back when I was in the midst of it all. When I was in the thick of my career and I was working those long hours and just facing all of those deadlines and things, managing all those responsibilities, the pressure to do it all and to be perfect seemed endless. And you may even feel like that, even if you feel like there's not even a moment to catch your breath. And that's the way I felt. And I lived in that for a long time. And that's probably how I ended up on medical leave for 3 months. So the very first step is to acknowledge the hustle, you know, acknowledge it. And I can still sometimes be in the midst of that hustle mentality and not even realize it until someone will kind of give me a little nudge and say, Cindy, slow down a little bit. You're pushing yourself too hard. So that's it right there. For those of you who are at home, You're not in the workplace, but you're still feeling these feelings. It's not all that different just because you don't have to punch a time clock. You might find yourself overcommitting in whatever way it might be, or trying to stay productive, trying to stay busy, and believing that success means you have to do everything and it all has to be just right. And you know what? Whether you're juggling clients or family, personal goals, personal responsibilities, all of this stuff can be really exhausting. And I know because I've been there too, and I can understand how uncomfortable it feels when you're stretched thin, when you are trying to meet everyone's expectations and your own included, like when you can't even make your own self happy. I get there sometimes. I used to be there a lot, but I've learned some over the years. But you can still feel like um, you're in a place where you're just not able to meet everyone's expectations. So let's talk about the next thing. So you're going to want to shift your approach. So, what did I say the first step was? To really acknowledge the hustle. So, you got to admit that there is an issue, or maybe you've already admitted it to yourself 100 times, but you don't know how to get past that. Then that's where we come into number two, which is shift your approach. So, if you're listening and you're kind of catching on to what we're ready to do here, type shift in the comments below. And I'll tell you what, when I realized that I was constantly in a state of overcommitment, now not just being committed to my job and doing the things that needed to be done, I was in a state of constant overcommitment, going above and beyond. And I decided I needed to make a shift because I could not balance it any longer. I mean, there was just too much going on, and I felt like I didn't have a choice and I was losing ground. And that feels really uncomfortable when you're doing your best and you're putting it all out there and you still feel like you're losing ground. So I decided to shift my approach. And instead of trying to tackle everything at once and striving to get everything done perfectly and being staying up till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and then have to be back to work at 6 or 7, I decided to just break down the task, work on them in smaller increments, and figure out a way to make these pieces more manageable. And you know what? The world did not fall apart. I didn't lose my job, although sometimes when you try to kind of fine tune things, when you've been the one that they always go to, it gets a little bit sticky. Um, but that's a topic for another discussion for another time. So, regardless of your responsibilities, whether they're in the home or outside the home, the principle remains the same. And this is it. Stop trying to do it all in one go. So if you feel me, type a one in the comments. Stop trying to do it all in one go because it just doesn't work that way. And you can dig yourself into the ground by thinking that you have to get it all done at once. And think about this. It didn't all come on your plate at once. No, it just slowly came in and came in this corner and came around that corner and came through that door and that window. And all of a sudden you are feeling the weight of all of these demands. Well, guess what? Just tick them off one at a time. Spread those tasks out throughout the week or the month and give yourself space to breathe. And there's different ways of doing this and different strategies for doing this. And we have talked about this before in our time in self challenge that we did a couple of years ago. And if that's something you're interested in some of these strategies or techniques that you can utilize, let me know and I'd be glad to give you some information on that. But what I found out is when I focus on one thing at a time, I feel more grounded and more accomplished. One thing at a time. You know, multitasking used to be the way I could do it, but not anymore. And to be honest with you, I'm still learning this concept because I'm trying to learn not to constantly chase my own never satisfied checklist. Because even now, I guess it's because I'm a high achiever and because I am a go-getter, I have a checklist, it feels like sometimes, that lists all the things that I'm not satisfied with. And we can drop that. We can let go of that checklist. And no matter where you are, if you're managing a career or you're adjusting to becoming a caregiver, or maybe you're just managing multiple responsibilities, know that you need to give yourself space to breathe and that it's okay. Now, let's talk about the fourth one here, balancing high pressure moments. So you might be thinking, that's all well and good for the things that you can put off or delegate or break into small tasks. But what about those things that you really have to power through? And I'm acknowledging that there are times when you really have to power through some high pressure situations. And I understand that. We have deadlines, we have family matters that are urgent and cannot be put on the back burner sometimes. Or maybe there's some projects that really require your full attention. And that's okay. We all have those kind of things, but we cannot allow ourselves to fill our day with back-to-back urgent, high pressure needs. And we do it, but we're not going to be able to sustain that very long. So the key is finding balance. And I did not find this balance in my career till probably the last 5 or 6 years. And I tell you, it was tough to do that, to recognize the need to have that balance, to give myself time to reset between these bigger, hectic moments. So, for those of you who might be knee deep right now in a project that is very demanding, could be your career, it could be your kids, maybe it is a home biz that you're trying to build, and even sometimes those endless volunteer schedules that we subject ourselves to. Volunteering is wonderful, but sometimes we can overcommit in that respect too. And just remember that pushing through every moment of stress like that, pushing through, pushing through, pushing through, it will eventually take its toll. And if you know what I mean by that, give me a 1 in the comments. Yeah. Or a T, a capital T, because you have been in a position where it has taken its toll on you. I mean, I don't know anyone that I have been in contact with in all of my adult years that could tell me that they've never had times when it has taken its toll. So this is real here. And we just need to know that even a brief pause, and sometimes you think, well, this is the way I used to think. I've only got 5 minutes. I'm just going to keep powering through it. But if I could just take those minutes, step away, breathe a little bit, reset, then I can dive right back in, be more focused, and feel less stressed out, less put upon, less overwhelmed by the responsibilities that I have. And a lot of times they're responsibilities that we choose to take on because we love the people that we are caring for or that we're doing what we do for the students in our classrooms, the people, our clients, our Sunday school people, the people in our church, whatever it might be, the people we volunteer for. You really care about those people. And doing some of those things are really good, but we just need to know that we don't need to do everything right now. And that it's important for us to take intentional breaks frequently to rotate tasks. Oh, I'm a big proponent of rotating tasks so that we can better manage our energy and avoid exhaustion. I think our society has an exhaustion epidemic. I really truly believe that. And we need to learn to reframe success so that we can climb that career ladder. We can work from home and have a really packed schedule with our children and their activities and whatever it might be. Success is not about doing everything perfectly or constantly hustling. And I am speaking to myself here because I am a hustler. And so I know that true success is about being aligned with what matters the most to you and taking meaningful steps toward your goals as a person, not as a whole, not your goals for the family or your goals for your kids, your goals for at work, goals for you personally, the inner piece of you. We've got the human part down pat. It's the being part, the inner part of a human being that I have learned over the last probably 5, 6, 7 years to not put myself under the constant weight of stress and perfectionism because it doesn't do anybody any good. And what it's about really is doing what matters to you in a way that feels sustainable. I know sometimes we overcommit, but starting right now, this minute, see if you can integrate things a step or two in your day to make things feel a little bit more sustainable. And you don't need to do everything at once. You don't need to check off every single task every single day to feel successful. And here's a reminder to myself. You don't have to do everything in the same high energy that you used to. I used to be able to multitask big time, but I have learned that steady, intentional, and aligned action is more than enough. I don't need to be that overachiever. A high achiever, yes, but I don't have to be that overachiever. So if you're feeling right now a little overwhelmed by the pressure to be perfect or maybe to get everything done at once, I have a little gift for you. And for anyone who has signed up for these spotlight sessions and the complimentary resources, it's a mini success reframe PDF. And it is just a one-page printable. It has, well, two-page. It's a two-page printable, and it has 3 daily prompts. The same one. You just do it over and over every day. That is quick to use. It doesn't require any setup, any practice, and it helps to create clarity for you immediately. So if that's something that you're interested in, just raise your hand or type reframe in the comments and I will get it to you. And if you are on the list to get these spotlight reminders in your email, then you'll already be getting this. If not, I'll put the link down in the comments below so that you can join us and catch up with everything that we have going on in the spotlight sessions. So thank you, and we will connect next Monday. Bye-bye.